In this video we'll go through the drive from Invercargill to Te Anau along the Southern Scenic Route. We've already done the drive from Dunedin to Invercargill through the Catlins. Check out the link in the description box below or check it out here. I'll point out special places to stop as well as a couple of different road travel options you might be interested in. My name is Michael, so let's get started. So in the next part of this video, we're heading from Invercargill to Te Anau. If you're a little bit time short, you might want to go the direct route, which is around about 2 hours, 155 kilometers. This is going through rural Southland. This is an option for you. Another option, which is my preferred one, is actually going along the scenic route around the coastline here. This is slightly longer, around about half an hour. It says again, you need to calculate a bit more time, but you should expect at least 2 hours, 40 minutes, or even 3 hours if you have stops. Anyway, so you're heading out of Invercargill. Just briefly, Invercargill is also an airport, so you can fly in there and you can also pick up a rental car. Some people head over to 𝗧𝗿𝗃𝗃𝗃, but as mentioned before, I want to do a separate video for 𝗧𝗿𝗃𝗃𝗃. So you're heading out of Invercargill and then heading on to SH99, and yeah, it's pretty much straightforward until you come to Riverton. Riverton is a kind of quite a lovely village along the ocean here. They have a little port, but one thing I want to point out is the Hikoi Museum. Hard to believe in a small place like Riverton, but they've done an amazing job in telling the local history. They've done not only old steam engines, but they have inside the museum, that's the bridge over to the wharf area, have a really beautiful display of the old days in respect of the seafarers, but also the indigenous Maori population, which I mentioned before, it's quite a few. So in any way, I would highly recommend you to stop at Riverton at that lovely museum place. And it's an entry fee. I mean, it's listed here $9, but it's really worth it. So do it. If you have a bit more time, there's also an opportunity to stay in Riverton. We had here stay about 2 or 3 nights a few years ago because there's some cool walks here, as you can see. There's also that kind of beachfront. There's a reserve down there. But yeah, you have uninterrupted views over to 𝗧𝗿𝗃𝗃𝗃. Let's have a look if we can spot something here. But that's the kind of coastline again. It's a lot of wildlife here too, penguins, seals. I think this is heading towards 𝗧𝗿𝗃𝗃𝗃. But yeah, on a fine day, you are able to spot it. Just to mention another place here, it just pops up here. It's Oreti Beach. And that was actually the beach where Munro did his motorcycle racing, and low tide, of course, but it's famous in the movie, The Fastest Indian. So he was racing here on that beach at low tide. So continue west from Riverton and you come to this little place called Colac Bay. You can miss it very fastly, but what I would suggest, if you have time, head in there, and there's a local marae. As mentioned before, there's a lot of Maori history here, and you could, embrace that a little bit. A marae is basically a meeting place for Maoris here. They do gather on the beaches for mussels, but yeah, that's a few on that area. It's pretty, it's a very low population density here. That is the entrance to the marae. Obviously, you need to ask permission to go in there, but it gives you kind of a really rural aspect of New Zealand. This is inside the marae, so they are really important places for the indigenous Maori people and for the local iwi. If you travel along the main road here towards the northwest, you have Grimstone Beach. You can have a stop, but there's also one location, one viewpoint. I really encourage you to stop as well. It's called McCracken Rest, and that's that famous signpost which points to all sorts of places like Codfish Island, which is a nature reserve off the west coast of Stewart Island, Invercargill, Solander Island, etc., etc. So this is a stunning place. It's a bit of an information board there as well, but you're looking straight into the southern Pacific over to Stewart Island into, it's almost towards Antarctica, heading further south. The next stop is Tuatapere. It's a sleepy little village, but it's a key point if you're interested to go into the Fiordland National Park. There's a couple of things if you want to do that kind of hiking, but there's a couple of really cool hiking options which can be started from Tuatapere. One of them is actually going along the coastal track. This part of the track, the southern coastal track, with ring bridges, but also these old railway bridges. In the old days, like we're talking about the 1860s, 1890s, there was a lot of logging happening, forest logging, and they actually brought out these huge remu trees, especially in totras as well, but mainly remu trees. They brought them out for milling in the area. Tuatapere was a key place for the milling industries or wood production. So these bridges are now used for walking. So for the walkers, so you can either do a day trip, you can walk in there, or you can do the whole Hump Ridge Track. The Hump Ridge can be done as guided walk. There's a guiding company that's in Tuatapere based, or you can do it independently. So I've got the website here, which I put in the description box as well, of the Hump Ridge Track. So it's a stunning location. As mentioned before, you can do it as a guided walk, or you can do it as a independent walk. But it goes right over the tops of the mountains, which is with amazing views over the whole area. So here also a few pictures, which are from the Department of Conservation website. I put it in the description box as well. Just showcases what a stunning region that is. You're looking right over there into Marlborough Lakes. So that's Fiordland National Park in the background, which is our largest national park. So this is one of the best hiking areas in New Zealand, and it's a little bit underrated, the Hump Ridge Track. Most people go the 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗃 or the Milford Track, but this is in the southern part of Fiordland, a really, really good option to do some remote but exciting hiking. So once you depart from Tuatapere towards and travel north towards Manapouri, you're pretty much going through rural heartland New Zealand. I mean, all these locations listed here, there are no villages as such. I mean, I traveled once with my bicycle and I thought there was a place here in Blackmount, but it was not. Blackmount is actually a famous farming community. There are some of the most skilled sheep shearers in New Zealand. There are some world records have been broken down here. So that Blackmount area, the whole Southland area, is pretty famous for that. There's another couple of hiking options, just that you want to be aware of. There's Lake Monowai. You can go in there. It's only open certain times of the year, that road. There's a road access. There's also a Lake Hauroko, yet another amazing area where you can go in there. There's one trip I want to highlight here. Again, if you stay in Tuatapere, this is something very special. It's the Wairaurahiri jet trip. So I've done that once, and it's just incredible. What's happening basically is you going down from Lake Hauroko, you're going down the coast with a jet boat. I'll show you that again on the map, but here's the jet boat, and here's basically on Lake Hauroko. It's a local operator. It's very small scale, but it's just in the middle of nowhere. This is where when you come from Lake Hauroko down the river, and that's where you actually land. That's basically the coastline, and they have They have a set up there when you have lunch. There's a guided walk on the track. That's the one here. So they stop along the track. It's beautiful local native New Zealand forest. A bit of a guided walk. That's a little telephone box right on the coastline. So they call it 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. It's easier to pronounce. This can also be tied in with the Hump Ridge Track. So this is as local as it gets. Most people pass this, but if you stay in the Tuatapere region, that's a must do. So here again is the map. Just show you there. They're basically traveling south from here. There's a jetty here where they're going. Then they're traveling down the the Lake Hauroko, and going down here that river, and they're basically finishing. You can see it's quite zigzaggy. It's a really fun trip. And you come out right here in the bottom on the coastline, and you basically make your way back. It's from memory, you need to calculate. Yeah, you calculate a day really to make it all happen. You probably arrive back, the afternoon, 3 or 4 o'clock. But yeah, calculate on a day. There's another, just for your information, for some really serious walkers. There's also the Dusky Track, but this goes the northern end of Lake Hauroko, and you can actually basically walk into Dusky Sound, which is here it's one of the 14 fjords we have in New Zealand, Dusky Sound. But this is really a remote wilderness area, only recommended for very experienced hikers. Right, we now approaching Manapouri, which is a small settlement. There is some accommodation here. This is not quite correct. I need to track that over. You basically you want to travel along here. You turn to the left here. There's a kind of a junction. Turn to the left. Go towards Manapouri. Lake Manapouri is one of the deepest. I think even the deepest in New Zealand. It's about 440 meters deep. There's about 33 islands here in the lake. Yeah, it's just a beautiful sight. I mean, I could make a video of Lake Manapouri alone, but there's some local walks. But the key point for Manapouri is actually it's a starting point for the Doubtful Sound trip. So what's happening is you go over with a boat over Lake Manapouri, and then this is here West Arm Lake Manapouri. And from here, there's a coach. It's a guided tour you have to do. There's no road access here. The whole region is no road access. The only road access you have to 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 Sound. But basically, it goes down here to Doubtful Sound. I got another video. I'll put it in the corner up here for you to check out 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 Sound or Doubtful Sound. So that's another venture. But back to Manapouri, so you can stay here. It's a very quiet little place, or you can actually continue north. What most people do, it's about 25 kilometers, half an hour or so, heading into Te Anau. And Te Anau is really the hiking capital of New Zealand. I've done numerous videos here. I used to live here, and I know the area quite well. So it's a starting point for all the hikes, the 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 Track, the 𝗟𝗏𝗃 Track. I will do another video on hiking as well, especially in the Fiordland region. There's so much to talk about. As usually, I recommend to stay 2 or 3 nights. So much to do, so much on offer here. So now we completed the whole track between Dunedin and Te Anau. As you can see, if you travel along the Southern Scenic Route, there's so much to see, so much to do. I really recommend if you have the time, to stay either even in the Catlins, or you want to stay maybe in Invercargill or even Tuatapere. But in any case, you want to have 2 to 3 nights in Te Anau to really discover, heading further north towards, 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 Sound, Riverton Track, all these famous places. So check out links in the description box below. Download the free travel planning sheet to help you design the best possible New Zealand holiday. Also, put any thoughts and questions into the comments fields below. If you find this video helpful and you made it so far in the video, please hit the subscription box below. Thumbs up to stay connected for more helpful New Zealand travel tips. See you in the next video.